Love this song. I'm going to do the zoom. Ready? Remember this from childhood? I love this kind of music. This is in college. My boyfriend was on the basketball team, 6'8". So we hung around. Most of his team was black, and they sang kind of. They listen to different music. So this is the stuff that I love from college. I do the doggy. I just do. I do a lot of more groovy, not so fun. So anyway, goodbye, Alan Thicke. I love him. Here's a quote for you. Yeah, I'm going to try to be on the ball. This is the third round because I need to tell you something important. So here's a quote, and then we're going to get on to business. You must always be willing to truly consider evidence that contradicts your beliefs and admit the possibility that you may be wrong. Intelligence isn't knowing everything. It's the ability to challenge everything you know. And it's tough. It is so tough to challenge some of your core beliefs. Might have changed it, but I'm very open-minded. And I've done a lot of inner work, and I'm a meditator, and I've, is reincarnation true? Is this true? Are family members still around us? Is that how I got the information? I don't know. But, so there's a quote for you. I have more, but here's a little gadget I got. Because I was a laser queen. I had my upper lip, my chin, my armpits, my legs. I felt at one point that I was pretty important. And so I had laser done. But it still isn't perfect. And so I bought this the other day, and you're supposed to just roll it, and it takes off all your hair. I haven't mastered the... It's okay. No one sees me anyway. Oh, and 99-cent, very bottom shelf of Walmart. They have these, so I glued them on, and I just tapped them, and it went really fast. I mean, I'm dying to rip them off, but, and I was at the bank, and I was talking to this gal, and I'm like, oh my God, your eyes, she looked like Mulan or something, and she had really pretty eyelashes, and she goes, oh. I said, I've tried, I can't, and she goes, well, have you seen these? Click, right off. What? They're magnetic. So the liner's magnetic, and you just go click, and they're on. So you can line all the way down to the very edge. It's going to connect right there. And then you can pull out. She says if you don't wash your face, you can wear them several days. And of course they last. All you have to do is buy the magnetic part, so you're not buying the eyelashes. So there you go. That's for information for you. I want to really I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm going to outline things. Let me put together a I'm going to call it Cliff Notes, like if there's a King Lear in college, they have a Cliff Note, which is a very small, a lot of the details are cut off, but the bulk of the framing is put together. So, well before your mother and our father got together, Louis Prima was with Keely Smith, and she would go to my father's hotels. There's stories about her. I've copied all of it because I want you to see. I mean, it makes me like, wait until Lena sees this. But they said that Louis and Keely, they went to a place, Allah, I think it is, in California, and the celebrities went there, and there was lots of secrets, and people did funny things. But they said Keely would always sit at the edge of the water with Louis in her polka dot blue bikini. And these were places that our dad owned, and so I was like, they were there, and then of course the recordings with the music. Then I realized, yeah, they had a relationship together, and with Walt Disney, that was our dad put that together for them. That was his rubbing elbows. He knew so many people. No one gave him any credit, and I'm pretty sure that property you lived in, the horse property with the motel, I think our dad allowed your family to stay there. And there was a document when I was in New Orleans. I went up to the genealogy department, and you had sold a property for like $120,000 to your mother, and then your mother turned around and sold it for a fortune. So there were many times your mother had you sign off on assets that were yours. And my father paid for my family's home and built-in swimming pool and 2 new cars a year. And that wasn't my piece of crap alcoholic father, who it hardly worked after that. So anyway, both of our families living off of our dad. Our dad's everything's fine. I'm going to like outings where they had this big rock swimming pool, and they would serve lobster and everything. It was so high end. And you'd look in the garbage can, and there'd be two brand new lobster tails because the children were like, ugh, and they'd throw it out, and they could absorb that kind of wastefulness. And I just remember it was my dad's boss. He was my mother and father's boss. Um, and I remember specifically, I don't know where that place is. I have a bad memory because I was abused. Um, very physically abused, sucker punched. As my mother stood and watched me bleeding, I've already told you that. And so, but I remember because my mother would say, Regan, Regan. I love to swim and dive. Anyway, lettered and diving. And I'm like, no. And then she goes, and I looked down and my poop was out of because I was diving and it came apart. And so, I remember some of those things because as a child that would be very embarrassing. But so our father, of course, we're born. Our father gets Gia pregnant. And she's at some point carrying triplets, because so she's fertile, girdle or whatever it is. And she may have even said, they could have afforded an abortion. They had the privilege and the wealth. But our dad was like, this is the best, worst thing that could ever, this is the best mistake I've ever made. Because I don't have any heirs to my property. I don't have, Betsy hasn't conceived any children. She's probably fixed. She probably was fixed when she got married. There was a definite desire to take down one of the wealthiest families. And so she gets pregnant. Our dad takes care of her. There's a receipt. It's in my baby book, so it's been stolen. Where there's somewhere in New York, and someone is staying in a private quarters, having room service. The bill is enormous. It must have been your mother, and our mother was the maternity ward. My mother was the maternity ward nurse that was helping your mom, which is why she could tell me stories about when you were born, how you kicked off my bottom, and your foot slipped, and with the amniotic fluid, talk about the whopper lies they told. But, she was probably there, and I probably kicked your mom's ass. And I'm going to do it again. Listen, we don't have to be victims. I'm not going to be. And if I have to drag you through this to be full of opportunity and wealth, where we can change significant parts of it. We would have been able to do this since the age of 18. But I have lots of ideas about how I would like to donate money and what I would change. It's a lot better than growing marijuana or being busted by going across party lines with a child for prostitution. There's sexual a lot of people that shouldn't have our family's money have it, and they're not using it in honorable ways. And I'm not going to allow our family legacy to be, they've almost caused genocide. There's 3 of us left, Lena. You've got to stand up with me. You can hate me, but do it for the good of a family that you owe your genetics to, all your talents. Hey, never mind. I'm not going to say that right now. So, Manhasset's a great example because the 400 acre property worth millions. Everyone wants to buy it, and our representatives that we've never talked to keep on telling people that the Whitney family this, the Whitney family that. They actually have gone to court and tried to stop the building of a 9-story wing on the hospital. My grandpa pain is probably rolling over in his grave because he would do anything for that hospital. He loved it. And I would like to help out. It's 400 acres. They might need more from us financially. But the people, the lepers living in our house, are paying themselves, a salary which far exceeds what you make singing, your money. And then they decide with your money, about $280 million, I think, is in the Green Tree Foundation or research foundation. What they're doing, it's a little shell game, and they have to change the name and move it, and so that you can't track it back to its original source. I'm not a rocket scientist, and I tracked it back. So, anyway, this is one property out of many, but our big properties are Greenwood Plantation, huge plantation down in Thomasville, Thomasville, Georgia, and then Aiken, South Carolina. Another that's the Palmetto Golf Course, worth about 400 million. Uh, the house, all of the sub buildings. It's where I want to go first. Here's the deal. I've already filed the list pendants. I've already started the legal paperwork, but I need your help on where to start. And because at some point they're going to pretend that we divided our property. They're going to pretend that because you were disinherited, which they could never do, and because I either A, died, infant death certificate, or that I was a runaway. And so they had to take conservatorship of it. Because they had to take control, they also had to decide how to divide the properties. Um, Louis and Gia, Louis died broke, left Gia in a world of hurt, and until our father died, they were destitute. And then when he died, all the primas, they all want a little cut of Gia's secret. You want, like Teresa, I think is her name. She got a double lot in Scripps Ranch in San Diego. And then, of course, she put it in her name. And it said in the lawsuit that there was Doe 1 and Doe 2, but they didn't name the children, probably because they didn't want us. And so your mother had to pretend, there was nothing going on there. And when she wouldn't admit that the two children had inherited it, that it was their father's property, then the judge ordered that she sign over the title to this property she didn't own. And so even the property, the horse property, I guarantee you, I'm going to let you do it and get shocked. Because I have way too many other properties I'm dealing with, and I don't know the ins and outs of that. But it showed that you had sold, like for $120,000, it showed in New Orleans that you had sold that real estate. It was in the newspaper, and you sold it to Gia, and then she turned around and subdivided. And that's where the whole cash grab with that property, and then they sold it, and now one of the newscasters, all that property was ours. That's completely stolen. And so they're doing you a favor, getting you on TV and everything, because they don't want to get caught. And if they do get caught, they want you, oh, they didn't realize, oh. I'll tell you, no one, including Kelly, had a gun held to their head. Everyone did it willingly and knowingly. Jojo, her dog's name, that's John and Joanne. That's our parents. There's no accident. Animals' names are really important, as I'll show you as what they mean. They have a lot of like subtle hidden meanings. And when I was going to change my name to a name that reflected who I was, Joan is our aunt, Joan Payson, and Joanne is our mother, and John is our father. And so I thought maybe I'll go with JoJo Whitney. Maybe that would, I want to find a name that honors my family and reflects it. So it was not surprising that Kelly's dog is JoJo. Once you realize you're being lied to, you can read through the lie, and it's fun because you go, oh, but you know their secret now. But before, can you imagine how stupid they think we are, and how easy it is to, I told her this, I told her that. Yeah, that's because honest people are honest with other people. They don't suspect that. That's nothing to do. If I teach you one thing today, it's not about you. A cheating husband, when he goes out and cheats, that's about his ability to make a promise, to make a sacred commitment, and to keep his word. And then the other thing, because this is what you're going to have to go through, I'll be there for you. There's going to be a lot of betrayal. That's about their own character. That's about their own fear of survival, or their own greed, or whatever it is. It has nothing to do with you. Do not take it personally. And when it comes to money, it's all shit anyway. It's beautiful artwork, it's diamonds, but it isn't family, and it's not loving, and it's not love. And so at some point, you have your health, you have your faculties, we have an incredibly bright future, and you cannot take it personally. But the other thing is, when you're in a relationship, there is no relationship that isn't based on honesty or truth. And so you're going to find a lot of people that are surrounding you that you didn't have a relationship with. You believed you did, but they knew that the premise was completely off. And then the second thing is, just like it empowers you. My husband's cheating. He was a cheater from the day I met him. He cheated all the time. He's, I'd get worried and call when he wasn't home at 4 o'clock in the morning.